We don't have much time. Does the team know about our mishap in Berlin yet?
No, but if it's connected to one of those names from Bell, they'll find out soon enough.
You won't let that happen, Hudson. Don't say anything more than necessary.
The current director of the CIA, Daniel Livingston, in Black Ops 6, says something very, very interesting towards the end of the game.
Whatever cabal brought Harrow into the Pantheon still lives inside our house. We thought they were long gone. But it turns out they never left.
Now, the word cabal means a small, powerful group of people who work together in secret to promote their interest or views. The term is often used to describe a group that uses intrigue to achieve their goals, and is usually done without the knowledge of those outside of the group. Synonyms of cabal include conspiracy, intrigue, machination, and plot. Clearly, that group in Black Ops 6 is the Pantheon, which are within the CIA, and their views differ a bit from the CIA, and their plans of world domination, extend outward. Now that we know what that means, we move to Emerson Black. Emerson Black was a high-ranking CIA official that appeared in Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. He served as probably the director of Central Intelligence and was one that oversaw many covert operations to stop the Soviet spy Perseus and his group. Now, Emerson Black was involved in plan making and decision making for many missions, and he worked extremely close with Jason Hudson, as we saw him conversate with Hudson on multiple occasions during the game of Black Ops Cold War. He often appeared very mysterious. He appeared behind the scenes, and he dealt with the aftermath of the tough choices that Adler and the team made, and he would talk to Hudson about his thought process of what was going on. But he was very mysterious, and I always wondered who he was, because it doesn't necessarily paint the picture in bright colors for you to understand. Call of Duty Cold War was a little bit mysterious, and it left some questions out in the open. Not many, but some. And Emerson Black was a character that I had no idea who he was, and I wanted to know who he was. And part of me thought that maybe he was a villain because he was in the background, he was talking to Hudson, and he was keeping things from the team. I just thought that maybe he was some sort of villain. But then we hear Emerson Black again in Black Ops 6, which Emerson Black in my mind was completely gone. I hadn't even thought of him once after the game finished. But in Black Ops 6, we get a letter where we find a classified document that approves the assassination and murder of two CIA operatives, the Harrows, which are the parents of Jane Harrow. And it was basically an authorization letter where Emerson Black sanctioned their murder. Now, this is extremely important to the story of Black Ops 6 because it's basically the motivation behind the villain of Jane Harrow. But the question is, at least one of the questions that I ask right now, was Emerson Black part of Pantheon? Is that why they showed us that document? Because Emerson Black sent that in 1960. And then the director of the CIA, Daniel Livingston, towards the end says that a cabal infiltrated the CIA and they thought that it was long gone. What if the CIA knew about some group like the Pantheon many years ago, back in the 1960s, and they tried to put a stop on it, and they thought they had gotten rid of them, but in reality they never left? That's what he said, they never left. Because what if the director of the CIA at the time, Emerson Black, had been part of this cabal, had been part of Pantheon, and he quietly took a step back and remained in the shadows while Pantheon got bigger, while Pantheon got stronger, while he looked for weaknesses in the CIA and where he could exploit these things, right? So that's the question that I ask. And then obviously, if we answer that question, it also kind of makes us curious to the fact that Pantheon might have been existing for many years already, maybe since the inception of the CIA. And maybe it didn't exist in the same way that it exists now, or at least in the Black Ops 6 game. Maybe it wasn't called Pantheon at the time. Now, we know the origins of Pantheon, and we're going to talk about those in a different video. But today is just Pantheon might have been part of the CIA for many more years than we believe, and maybe Emerson Black was part of them all along. And that also begs the question, was this like a long time coming for Call of Duty Black Ops? Because, we know that Cold War probably began production in like 2018, 2019, obviously came out in 2020. So did Call of Duty, did Treyarch have this idea of Pantheon for a long time, and they kind of sprinkled some things in Cold Cold War, and then they followed up in Black Ops 6. You know, that means that maybe the intention was that Pantheon is this big group that is always looming over Call of Duty in general. And maybe this is the creation of that. We might see Pantheon again, you know, in different games and whatnot. But it's interesting to think of the possibilities that maybe Emerson Black and Pantheon were involved all along. Now, obviously, another thing that I thought about really quickly is that maybe Emerson's Black's signature and this authorization paper to assassinate the Harrows was forged. And Pantheon created this and falsified it and put Emerson's Black name on it to make it seem official, to make it seem like it happened, but maybe it never really did. That's a question that we also don't know. So there's, again, all of this is open-ended. It's all up for discussion. What do you think?